Welcome to KAFT Radio and Happy New Year's Eve. This being the last night of both the year and the decade, we thought tonight's program would be a decade in review. Let's start by recapping a bit of history that has been made in the past 10 years. On August 18, 1920, women gained the right to vote. Also in this year, alcohol became illegal in the United States, only to be legalized again at a later date. In 1924, the U.S. participated in the first Winter Olympic Games held in France and won 4 medals. Winnie the Pooh was published in 1926, delighting children everywhere. In 1927, Babe Ruth shattered a home run record. Charles Lindbergh became the first man in history to fly across the Atlantic Ocean in 1927. That's a far distance. Our presidents have been Woodrow Wilson, Warren G. Harding, Calvin Coolidge, and our current president, Herbert Hoover, of course. Clearly, the 1920s have been an exciting time for Americans. After this short break, we'll have Beatrix Laugren here to talk to us about her experience in the 1920s.
A smooth, creamy, more than delicious piece of Kraft cheese is sure to add the perfect taste to any homemade recipe, or even a few slices for the kids is doubly grand. Good cheese and good for you.
We're very fortunate to have Beatrix Laugren, silver medalist in figure skating, here with us tonight. How are you, Beatrix?
I'm swell. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Beatrix, the 1920s have been an extraordinary decade for you. Tell us about the highlights of the past 10 years.
Well, of course, figure skating at the very first Winter Olympics Games has to be my fondest memory. Everyone I knew thought it was just the cat's pajamas that I was able to earn a silver medal for the United States.
Divine job, Beatrix. Also, the 1920s have been a great period of change for women. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Women now have the right to vote, the same as men. That really shows that things are changing for the better. It also surprised me to see so many women becoming independent and standing up for what they believe in.
That sure is a great thing. Lastly, do you have any hopes for the next decade?
Well, in the next years, I'd like to continue skating and hopefully compete in another Olympics. I'd also like to see our nation's prosperity regarding our economy.
Well, Beatrix, thank you for being here tonight. We wish you a happy and healthy new year and new decade. After these messages, we'll be back with Ashley.
Do you want to do something special for that special someone but can't find the words to say? Stop by your local store and pick up a Hallmark greeting card. It is guaranteed to put a smile on your loved one's face. And if you want to write a personal message and sign your card to make it even more special, on your way through the store, make sure to pick up a fountain pen.
Thanks for the interview, Tegan. Many of you know that this decade has been a big one in sports. We've experienced many major events in sports throughout this decade. Some major highlights were, on January 5th, 1920, Babe Ruth was sold by the Boston Red Sox to the New York Yankees, a big mistake for the Red Sox. Soon after, on February 14th, the National Negro Baseball League was founded. Also, on September 17th, the American Professional Football League was formed in Canton, Ohio, with Jim Thorpe as president. Later, in 1922, the league changes its name to the National Football League. On November 26, 1925, Red Grange placed its first professional football game with the Chicago Bears against the Chicago Cardinals. This was the first game broadcasted nationally. On September 22, 1927, the Gene Tunley-Jack Dempsey World Heavyweight Championship fight draws $2.65 million. Tunley keeps his title because of the legendary long count in the 10th round. And now a word from our sponsors.
Before the kids go back to school, make sure to pick up a jar of Peter Pan peanut butter. It's sure to make their school lunch divine.
In this decade, we've had major changes in our music. African Americans have made major contributions to the music. Thanks to the jazz age, we have new artists like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, King Oliver, Bessie Smith, Benny Goodman, and Ma Rainey. Today, we all listen and greatly enjoy the jazz music that we hear on the radio. As we said in previous weeks, we are going to be hosting a game where we would play your favorite jazz songs and you'll have to name us the song. Get your ears ready, here we go. And don't forget about the cat's meow surprise. Call in lickety split. Are you ready, caller 1?
Yes, I am.
Do you know the song, caller?
Well, I feel like I'm between a rock and a hard place on this one, but I'm going to have to guess Big Butter and Eggman by Louis Armstrong!
That's correct, caller. Congrats, you've won a crossword puzzle.
Oh, hotsy totsy!
Thanks, caller 1. On to caller 2. Caller 2, are you ready?
I am.
You treated me wrong. I treated you right.
Do you know the song title or artist, caller?
Yes, I do. I think it's Bessie Smith, Downhearted Blues.
Woo!
Congrats, you've won a game of Mahjong. Hey, caller 3, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Do you know the song title or artist?
I think it's Rhapsody in Blue by Gershwin.
That's correct. Congrats, you've won a fountain pen.
Yay, that's the bee's knees.
And after these messages, we'll be back with Kelsey.
Hey girls, is that new bob cut getting a little too messy? Do you want that keen looking hair? Well, luckily for you, you can buy bobby pins to help keep your bobbed hair looking nice all day. Bobby pins will hold all those messy hairs and keep you looking swell.
And we're back. As we continue to look back, why don't we all reminisce on all the trends and fads of the past decade? The fashion of the past 10 years sure is the cat's meow. On the main drag, you will never fail to forget the dropping waistlines, higher hems, and more fitted dresses. As the 20s come to an end, don't forget to pick up the new Vogue, the Queen, and Harper's Bazaar to become up to date on the new flashy and ritzy fashions in the 1930s. With fashions, you can't forget the many long nights of dance marathons. The cash and prizes, along with the energetic attitude of the Charleston and the Jive, make this activity one for the history books. A divine night in the past decade also included family nights with Mahjong, surrounded by the Chinese dress and decoration. Now, who could forget when people went, and some still are going totally gaga over flagpole sitting? Stunt actor Alvin Shipwreck Kelly started this fad when he was dared by a friend to sit atop a flagpole. As the Great White Way is lit up even brighter tonight, for New Year's Eve, we can never forget the mob streets of Times Square and the Darb shows coming from the stages of Broadway. Two of my personal favorites were No Nanette and Showboat. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Looking for the perfect balance of salty and sweet? Try Cracker Jack's caramel-coated popcorn. Enjoy them at a ball game while watching your favorite players or even just as a swell midday snack. Either way, they're the bee's knees.
In the new year, don't forget to refresh yourself with an ice-cold, pure, cheerful fountain drink. Coca-Cola sure is the cat's pajamas. Don't hesitate, go out and buy Coca-Cola's new 6-bottle pack in a grand new and handy carrying container.
Continuing on with our bull session about the past decade, we will be talking about some of the new inventions and what went on in the business world. Throughout the 1920s, the economy was going nowhere but up. This was called a boom in the Wall Street. This was mainly due to the many new inventions of the decade. Electricity was also another big reason the economy was able to grow as it did. It became widely popular in households in 1922, and it was in demand because of the new electrical devices. Electricity has really made life in the 1920s divine. Commercial radio broadcasts were also started in 1920. About 2 years later, the radio could be found in almost every household. Another popular item in the 1920s was the automobile. Some of the major struggle buggy manufacturers of the decade were Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Speaking of the automobile, the Tin Lizzie was thought to be the most affordable by the middle class. Even though some families could not necessarily afford things with the money they had, they could still buy many of the new inventions. This was because buying with credit became widely popular throughout the 1920s. Many thought that buying with credit made life dark, but this past year Wall Street crashed. The main reason for this was the use of credit.
Oh look, there's only 5 seconds left till midnight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1...